And it was great, but he struggled with a welterweight. Let's get that right. He struggled with a welterweight. He struggled against the big, meaty, beefy middleweight as he is. His punches won't have an effect on a genuine. The fight really showed us last night that a good big un beats a good little un. They're good. They're not great. So Eubank wins the fight. Where he goes from here in terms of world level, I don't know, because I don't want to pour cold water on.
McKenzie didn't hold back in his brutally honest assessment of the fight, stating that Chris Eubank Jr. is a dangerous force in the ring and clearly on another level compared to Conor Benn. McKenzie highlighted that Benn simply couldn't cope with Eubank's power and precision, with their previous clash serving as a clear reminder of why Eubank remains a serious threat in the division. He suggested that Benn should think twice before agreeing to a rematch, as Eubank's superior size, skill, and aggression would likely lead to another one-sided outcome.
I don't know if it was so much Conor surprised me how well he bolts because of the way Chris Eubank must have been feeling, because he was, he looked terrible on the scales. Absolutely.
On the other side, Billy Nelson was equally candid in his take on the fight. While he admitted to being surprised by Conor Benn's performance, he didn't hold back in criticizing Chris Eubank Jr., especially for looking terrible on the scales and showing signs of poor conditioning in the lead-up to the bout. Nelson pointed out that despite Eubank's evident physical struggles, Benn still failed to take advantage of the situation. He emphasized that the fight was far from a dominant display by either man, raising important questions about whether Eubank's issues ran deeper than just fitness or if Benn was simply outclassed on the night. As for Nigel Benn, one can only imagine what he might have said about his son's performance in such a heated showdown.
Yeah, I was proud of him. Very, very close fight. Very, very close fight. Not going to go on about decision. It could have gone either way. Chris done better in the later rounds, which I was very impressed with.
Nigel Benn didn't argue with the decision or make excuses for his son. Instead, he simply acknowledged Chris Eubank Jr.'s dominance, particularly in the later rounds. His silence spoke louder than any outburst could. There was no defense of Conor, just a quiet, painful acceptance that he couldn't meet the moment. When even a father like Nigel chooses honesty over loyalty, it's a powerful admission that Conor simply wasn't good enough. The fight laid bare some harsh truths, and not even those closest to Conor could deny them.
I don't think Conor performed to his best of his ability. Was winging a lot of shots.
Nigel Benn drops a bombshell, tearing into Conor's performance without pulling any punches. He openly admits that Conor failed to rise to the occasion, throwing wild, sloppy shots that lacked both precision and composure. Benn makes it clear that his son simply wasn't prepared for the challenge. In contrast, Chris Eubank Jr. delivered a composed, calculated performance, solidifying his status as the clear favorite with disciplined, well-timed punches. The truth was plain to see. Eubank Jr. was the more focused and controlled fighter throughout. Tony Sims echoed this sentiment, stressing that it was Eubank's experience and dominance in the later rounds that ultimately sealed the win.
I think Benn's a great fighter. They're all a great fighter, and I think that was one of the best British boxing fights of all time, for sure, and maybe just in general.
Rain Garcia may have tried to dress it up, calling the Eubank Jr. versus Benn clash one of the greatest British boxing matchups of all time, but let's be honest, there was nothing classic about what unfolded in that ring. What fans actually witnessed was Conor Benn being systematically dismantled. Garcia can sugarcoat it all he wants, but the reality is that Chris Eubank Jr. delivered a cold, clinical performance that exposed the massive gulf in class between the two fighters. Eubank didn't just win, he dominated, breaking Benn's rhythm, dictating the pace, and showing he was levels above. Garcia's diplomatic spin can't hide what true boxing fans saw: a one-sided beatdown. This wasn't a back-and-forth war. It was a harsh reminder that in boxing, levels matter. And on that night, Eubank Jr. made it painfully clear that Benn doesn't belong among the elite.
I feel like the last two rounds was what really probably won it for Chris, is that he outmanned Conor in the last two rounds, out experienced.
Tony Sims didn't mince words, calling Conor Benn's performance a disgrace. While he acknowledged that Conor put in the effort, Sims pointed to the final 2 rounds as the turning point, where Chris Eubank Jr. completely took over. He highlighted Eubank's superior experience, strength, and ring intelligence, which overwhelmed Conor and left him with no path to recover. Sims credited Eubank's maturity and composure as the deciding factors in the fight, noting that Conor simply couldn't rise to that level. In the end, despite Conor's attempts, it was Eubank's dominance in those critical moments that sealed the outcome.
What a great match that would be. They have a similar physicality, and it was just so exciting to see 2 guys. And as for Conor Benn, he had to give away 18 pounds maybe. He never took a step backwards, and almost 70,000 fans, British fans, are still the best, no doubt about it.
Michael Buffer was electrified after witnessing the explosive showdown between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, calling it one of the most thrilling matchups in recent memory. He praised how their contrasting styles collided to create a perfect storm inside the ring. What stood out most to Buffer was Benn's fearless, relentless approach. Despite conceding nearly 18 pounds, he fought like a warrior, charging forward without hesitation. Buffer also gave high praise to the British fans, calling them the best in the world, as nearly 70,000 packed the arena in a night overflowing with drama, passion, and heart. The atmosphere was nothing short of electric, reminding everyone why boxing remains one of the most captivating sports on the planet. This unforgettable clash didn't just entertain, it earned its place in boxing history and left fans hungry for what's next.
Over the moon, absolutely over the moon. To see Chris get his hand raised, and it's been a difficult camp, it's been a difficult time. I think everyone's seen the pictures, everyone's seen the stories, everyone's seen what he's had to go through. Fair play to Conor Benn, because he was phenomenal as well tonight.
Shalom couldn't hide his excitement following Chris Eubank Jr.'s hard-fought victory, celebrating the triumph after a challenging and turbulent training camp. Acknowledging the difficulties faced in the build-up, Shalom was quick to credit Conor Benn for his gutsy and impressive performance, noting how Benn pushed Eubank to the brink with his resilience and skill. He emphasized that both fighters poured everything into the ring, displaying heart, determination, and a deep commitment to the sport. Shalom's praise echoed Eddie Hearn's, with both promoters recognizing the bout as one of the most thrilling in recent boxing memory. With tensions at an all-time high, Shalom sees this as just the beginning of a gripping rivalry, hinting that the journey is far from over, and fans should prepare for more unforgettable clashes. Meanwhile, Johnny Nelson offered a brutally honest take, stating the fight was far closer than the scorecard suggested. He was especially impressed by Conor Benn's courage in stepping up to the 160-pound division, a weight class well outside his comfort zone. Benn's resilience and technical ability earned Nelson's respect, but he made it clear that Eubank's experience at the elite level was the deciding factor. With superior conditioning and a calm, seasoned approach under pressure, Eubank's championship pedigree shone through in the key moments. While Benn fought with heart and pushed the pace, Nelson believes it was Eubank's world-class experience that ultimately secured the win, solidifying his status as the more polished, battle-tested fighter.
A really good fight. I think it was a lot closer than what it was. Commend Conor Benn immensely because he put on an amazing performance. Remember, he's a welterweight. Never really boxed at world-class level at 160 or around that. Chris has more experience on the world scene than Conor. Conor did himself proud. I think
Smith doesn't hold back, firmly stating that both Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn are on a collision course for a monumental rematch. He praises Eubank for his incredible resilience and ability to bounce back, proving once again that he's an elite-level fighter capable of thriving under immense pressure. Eubank handled the spotlight like a true champion, reaffirming his place among the division's best. On the other side, Conor Benn remains fiercely determined, eager to prove that his loss to Eubank was nothing more than a misstep, not a reflection of his true potential. According to Smith, this rematch isn't just likely, it's inevitable. Both men have unfinished business, and the world is eagerly awaiting the next chapter. In just 6 months, the stage will be set for an epic showdown. Benn seeking redemption, and Eubank aiming to leave no doubt about his dominance. This isn't just another fight, it's a defining moment in British boxing. Make sure to like the video, Drop your predictions in the comments and subscribe for all the latest updates.
I think Conor wants it next, and he was talking about maybe going down in weight. And I think that if they want to get it on, they do it again, in 6 months' time, and we will come back.